Welcome to another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. Bringing to you live Monday Night Football. Let's see if we can get our video going to go ahead and get this night started. There we go. Welcome to another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. I'm Weasel from BootMexSource.com. This is an hour-long podcast dedicated to all things Mexican soccer, Mexican football. On tonight's show, we'll be talking all about this guy right here. Well, not the full hour as much as we want to. Cuahtemoc Blanco, ladies and gentlemen, making an impact once again in a game against Morelia. A game where many thought it was just going to be 30 minutes of wasted of running around, a 43-year-old guy in a very, very tight T-shirt. Just kind of running around, flopping around. But we saw him almost score an amazing golazo. I'll talk to the guys about that. Also, El Clásico Regiomontano, did it live up to expectation? This Gignac, the power of Tigres, Monterrey, the leader of Liga MX. It's going to be great. Chivas finally getting a win, and we'll squeeze in there and talk maybe some Pachuca, Dorados, overall Liga MX. And we'll cross the ocean and go in to talk about Europeos. Lots and lots to talk about. Guillermo Ochoa finally getting to start after so many years. I can actually say years starting in La Liga. Talk to Naive. Maybe he was in Europe back over there when Memo was playing. Lots to talk about. But first, let's go say hello to everyone on tonight's Mexican Soccer Show. The guys, the experts. First, I'm going to say hello to my friend Jason Markowitz, who we should just call him Tres Estrellas Jason, or we just call him Jason Estrella. Not Jason
Either way
Estrada.
works with me. I'm thinking about maybe a tattoo, maybe a star. On the
Every single time you win, and for those of you that don't know, we have a competition, una quinela. You know, keep go. We all have our hats to see. You know, we're gonna predict every single day, whatever you do, whatever ritual we all do to see who's gonna win. And Jason now has 3 stars. I have 2. Tom has 1. Naive has 1, and we won't even mention the other guys. Wait, you know what?
Well, they don't get to come on the show anymore, right? So.
Yeah, they don't come on the show. That's it. Even our intern Amy has a star. She won a couple of weeks back. Johnny, Cesar, no stars. We just got to throw it out there. But fun times. Jason, how are you?
I'm good, yeah. So I think maybe going forward, eventually we'll all start handicapping this. Maybe I'll just start only picking Saturday games, let you guys get back in the competition a little bit, even things out, you know?
All right. I think I like it. I like the jacket, man.
Yeah, it looks familiar, huh?
Yeah, it looks. You know, if we can all buy that and we just all wear it every single time we have the show, I think it's legit. All right, Mr. Naeem Moran, who has been a traveling man. He's at games. He's everywhere. You know, seeing him on writing articles for ESPN in Spanish. If you haven't got a chance, getting a lot of press. Amazing job what you're doing, Naive. How are you, sir?
Gracias, Wiso. Good evening to Tom and Jason. It's been busy. Yeah, it's been busy, but at the same time, really fun. I think what happened at Estadio Azteca on Saturday was a highlight of the season, I would say. You know, we talked about it in the Express show that, you know, it could be regarded sort of as a joke, but at the same time, I think it will be something memorable that a lot of people will keep in their minds.
Yeah, well, definitely memorable. I think we were all, our hearts stopped as soon as that floater was going over, and we're like, please go. And Tom Marshall, usually I greet you with what is going on in your city in Guadalajara. How relieved are you? Tell me. I mean, Chivas finally winning, something positive, at least going forward. But how are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Weasel. Hi, Jason. Hi, Naive. Yeah, Chivas won at last. March 5th, first win of the year. So, you know, it took a bit longer than I think fans would have wanted, but, you know, heading into next weekend's Clásico Nacional, I think it's a big boost for Chivas. And I don't know, you can feel the atmosphere around the club now and stuff just a bit lighter. You know, it's a bit nicer place to be.
Yeah, no, definitely good. Little pressure's off, but as soon as, you know, they win a game, and you know, looking at next week with the Super Clásico, it's like they can't breathe. You know, would love to have like a I don't know, maybe a Morelia next week that supposedly can defend. But we'll go ahead and talk about that. Guys, I want to say hi to everyone on the chat. We have a special guest on the chat. Mr. Cesar Hernandez just got demoted from not winning a star. All he gets to do now is on the chat. So there you have, one of us on the chat right now talking to everyone, Mr. Ivan Fernandez, who does all of our live tweets here on the Mexican Soccer Show. Saying hello to Christopher Ortuno. If you are not following Christopher Ortuno, he's got a great Twitter account called El Tri Stats and tweets out everything that's going on at the very moment. Great Twitter handle, great friend. Cristian Camargo, Daniel Cortez, lots of people on the chat. Get to a computer right now and join us, because at the end of the show, towards the end, we're going to give a little 5 more minutes for you to ask us some questions, hopefully football related. But for Tom, everything's on the table. If you want to ask Tom anything you want, you can go ahead and ask Tom. And we'll have a lot of fun today. It's going to be a great show. So let's go ahead and get started. But yeah, let's go ahead. And Michael Gonzalez also on the chat on there. So saying hi to everyone. The topics today, as we mentioned, we'll start off with Mr. Cuahtemoc, flying high at the Azteca Stadium, where it looked like, on our point of view, if you're watching here on TV, it just looks like an amazing atmosphere. We had one of our own, Naib Moran, who was there at the game, so I'll let him kind of start and give us, what the atmosphere, how it was going into the game, what the fans were looking for. I think we were all very surprised, as you talked about it, Naib, where we didn't know what to expect. This 43-year-old guy hasn't played. Not only that, he's the mayor of Cuernavaca, and he's on the pitch. And we get his first few touches. I think the first touch was like a horrible touch, but after that, he was flawless. I mean, Taquito, Cuatemiña. Naib, give us a little bit of taste of what you saw on Saturday going into in the Azteca.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was in the looking at back, when it was there, it was all craziness. It was all a party before the match and after the match and during the match. But then again, you always had that behind your mind. It was an official game, and I think America needed to get a win. They had gotten draws. They tied the Clásico Joven against Veracruz, and then they lost against Tigres for, it was a trashing that went over there in Monterrey. So I think America needed some type of positivity to come into the team. And I think that was what Cuauhtemoc Blanco provided. This game, it was something that he wanted to do since, forever. He wanted to play an official game with America before calling it quits, even though he's already involved in politics, like you mentioned. Between 2007 and 2016, Cuauhtemoc still played. He played in Puebla, he was in Irapuato, in Dorados, in Chicago Fire. So you would think that this instance that we lived a couple of days ago could have happened before, but a series of issues prevented that from happening. So now, in a way,
right there, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, this took too long," and I like that you said that it took so many years after he was there. But when was the last time they did a game, a tribute for a player that's retiring when he's not on that team? If he was playing with everyone else, I think he even played in Necaxa. They couldn't just do a tribute with America. Maybe when he went to Chicago. This is the only time that he's been free. The guy's been playing. He played, last year.
Yeah, but the guy, he was begging to come back to America. When he was in the second division, he was basically saying, I really want to play for America. I want to finish my career at America. And America were like, no. He said,
but he wasn't good.
No.
He wasn't good to play against in America. They weren't just going to have him for a half a season to pay him some money for him to play in a tribute game. I understand why America did this until he was available. And guess what? As soon as he became a player, he's running for mayor.
No, and I think looking at the details from the game, what really impressed me was that shot, the floater that hit the crossbar basically. I think that was the moment that stood out from the 36 minutes that he was on the field.
Definitely.
And even though it could look a little bit comical because of the age and everything, I think he's that type of character that will forever live in Mexican football, that can do this kind of things. Mm-hmm. I think what he did for the national team in certain moments was crucial. He basically qualified the team on his back, to the 2010 World Cup, that one that Javier Aguirre was sort of looking for answers, Well, there's Cuauhtemoc. So
Yeah.
I
Do you
think
think this
he
is the
has
last?
that power.
A lot of people are saying el último ídolo, the last Mexican idol. Sounds funny. To play in giving them that status that they connect, coming from Tepito, El Barrio, the guy that put his team on his back to have that garra. Totally different game now. I mean, I don't see a Chicharito coming from the same place or we have a place like that, but I think everybody connected, regardless if it was your tia, your mom, your uncle. We were all watching that game and really wanted him to score, really wanted him to, pushing for it. It didn't matter if you're a Chivas fan or anyone. It was entertaining to see what he was doing. But as much as it was entertaining, I thought it was a little bit of an embarrassment in the fact that the Liga MX would allow a current politician, retired player at 43 years old, to play an official game. Tom, do you see that? You're around there, with the circle, the group of journalists, international journalists. For example, your friend Tomas Gubin. How are people seeing this? That the Liga MX is able to do this, and can we take it seriously?
I think there's like the domestic Mexican press. I don't think anybody's had a problem with it. I think everyone's like, oh yeah, America want to do this, they're right to do it. You know what I mean? Which is fair enough. But I think if you look at it from outside Mexico, it is a joke. I know he had a shot and he hit the crossbar and that was exciting. But I mean, this was an official league game, and it's like the guy's not even played for a year. I don't know. So I think there's a difference between how it's viewed in Mexico and outside. But I don't know. I think I understand it from like an Americanista point of view. It's like if Eric Cantona comes back for Manchester United, like there's an emotional side to it. Like if Maradona suddenly plays a half of Boca Juniors, there's like that emotional you just as a fan you just wouldn't care. You wouldn't care if he's 65. You know what I mean? You'd still support him and love it. But I think like for the rest of from outside that, then that's where it becomes a bit for me problematic. It's this weekend the Mexican League had the second highest attendance of any league in the world, according to some stats doing the internet rounds. Only the Bundesliga was higher, and it's like that's so positive. And then you're like, oh yeah, but America sold out against Morelia because they had a 43-year-old who was playing for 30 minutes. So it's like I don't know, but I don't want to be like spoiled sport. I understand it for American.
Our director, our engineer, Ingeniero is playing some music right now. It's called a little conspiracy theory, and I'm going to Jason with this question that's just kind of brought up. Jason, were people in on this game? It looked like Cuahtemoc Blanco was not touched. Going 2-3 players and able to shoot. Enrique Mesa saying, "No, obviously we wanted to win the game," but was this all kind of maybe already all staged?
No, I doubt that. I mean, I don't know. I think probably you're not you're out there for Morelia. You're not looking to go out and just crush this guy with some kind of a tackle. Like, probably they were laying off a little bit, and I think that's a shame. I don't know. It's like I don't want to be like a turd in the punch bowl here, but like something about this just didn't quite. This whole thing didn't really set right with me. I mean, it's just like a regular season match. Like it just felt like a friendly. Like it's just. You
tweeted that right at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, it's just very strange. I didn't really like it for a lot of reasons, but I don't think you could say and big conspiracy and Morelia is in on it and just let America get the win, let Blanco get a good chance for a goal. But I mean, you have to kind of think maybe laying off him a little bit. But I think that's just kind of natural, kind of giving him a little space, kind of thing.
I think that if there is some conspiracy, it's more like within the league because there was a number 100 already registered for America this season. There was the whole reason why he retired in the first place apparently was because he was running for office. And you couldn't run for office and play in the league. And now all of a sudden, nobody talks about that. Everybody's like, he's actually a mayor of a town now. He's the mayor.
Who has the rule that you can't, hold public office and be a player? Is it the Mexican league or is this maybe a FIFA rule?
I think it's the Mexican league. They've got statutes.
Well, if it's a Mexican league, just change it. I mean, it's like my little Darth Vader book right here that I write notes. Go. You just change it.
But yeah, I mean, but just quick point aside from the Cuauhtemoc, I thought major positive for America, and it happened in the same game in the game against Seattle Sounders as well, Darwin Quintero. He's looking. He's got that spring in his step. He's looking dangerous. He's looking at that player that's just, he's so direct and he's so pacey that it's so difficult to defend against. And he had that link with Oribe Peralta, and it's coming back now. It's like the old Santos days. And with Benedetto out for a while, it's a big. That was a big plus for America. Leaving, Cuahtemoc Blanco came off, and I know he had his shot and all that, but Quintero set up one goal and scored twice, Yeah. And he was so it's like, I think that's a major plus for America.
I think Quintero looked at what Cuauhtemoc Blanco was doing and was like, wait a second, if this 43-year-old guy is going by players and is able to score twice, I could definitely use it. I mean, and he was able to open. I don't know, I saw Quintero also play a little more libre, kind of going around, not so stuck on the side. I liked where he was at. But then again, here we are saying conspiracy. Everybody was letting up on Cuauhtemoc and not playing and whatever. But then we saw Morelia, just the defense didn't.
Morelia was awful, no?
Yeah, Morelia looked awful. Even though I was really surprised because going into this game, Morelia has only lost against Tigres. That's the only team they've lost to this season. So it was interesting to see them, and I think when I was watching the game, I'm like, oh, they're giving it easy, but I did not expect that scoreline. Morelia looked ridiculously, just bad defensive mistakes, and America capitalized, and that could have all been from the pressure. You know what people say about the Azteca when it's going. After that, players, it's hard to play there. The pressure that's there, everyone around. Overall, I wish I was at that game, but Naive, you said it. They played awful. And Morelia that was expecting to do at least a little bit better.
Yeah. And let's point this out. Hugo Gonzalez was the goalkeeper, not Moises Munoz, which I think was something interesting to see in the game. Afterwards, Moises Munoz didn't speak to the media, and he usually is one of the first ones that stops and talks to the media. So there's some concern there from Moises Munoz's part. He still hasn't renovated his contract at America. We don't know what will happen in the next season, if he will move on somewhere else. And America will bring someone in the summer. And Darwin Quintero and Michael Arroyo, they scored their first goals of the season in that match. So, overall, there was a positive effect. I'm hearing a lot like the Americanismo was sort of reborn again. There was some type of renaissance of the Americanismo feeling that afternoon. But I think it's still too early. What I do have to point out, I think it's the best home game of the Ambriz era. Because all of the home games in Ambriz era have been pretty boring overall, and this one had a little bit of flavor into it.
Well said. Especially the problems that they've been having there in the FA. We talked obviously about Temo, what everyone is saying. Let's see, on the chat, Ivan Fernandez, he drank too much milk maybe by mistake. He needs some milk. Talking all about players here. He was faster than Gullit. Lots of talk on this. So you're joining us, guys. Let's go and switch gears over. I'll keep with Liga MX talk and really dive into the Clásico Regiomontano. A lot of people, expecting, like I said at the beginning of this podcast, Monterrey leader against Tuca's, the star team and the star power that they have. To you guys, fell a little flat to me. The expectation, maybe because we just got done watching Cuahtemoc, and it looked like that kind of stole the spotlight of the Regiomontano. But Tom, to you, no, Jason, you watched it. What did you think about the Clásico? Because we all said last week this was going to be the game to watch.
I still think it was. I think it was cagey, and it was always going to be with those two managers involved. You have. I don't think either one of those teams is going to go all out and expose themselves. Very tactically sound teams. And I think it was still an impressive game. I don't think either team executed to their full potential necessarily, but just the intensity level in that game from everyone on that pitch was just, it exuded. It came right through my television. Certainly, I felt it. I thought it was a great game. I think either team could have ended up winning that game. I think Tigres had their chances certainly. The one save from Orozco when he came on a goal was just amazing. I think Tigres had a great chance there with Gignac coming in to put it away. So, I don't know. I think it was a great game. Monterrey going down a player there at the end certainly added to that. And then being able to hold that out, I thought it was just a really, I don't know, not a ton of scoring, but I really enjoyed it.
No, yeah, I think me too. I thought it was really good. I thought, like Jason said, the intensity, the quality was there. You know, it didn't necessarily show itself, in goals, but sometimes games are like that. And I think that if you turn the volume down on your TV and you just watch that game in certain moments and you see the crowd and you see the brand new stadium, you're like, this is world class. Like this is generally like a world class game, a world class occasion on the field and off the field. So I thought there was a real good intensity about the game, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Just one quick thing to point out was that for me that my main take from that game was Cesar Montes, the Monterrey centre back. He's just turned 19 years old last month, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant against Andre Pierre Gignac. And I thought Gignac was actually frustrated in the end. I thought you could tell it came through that he was frustrated because he's got this young Mexican kid who's just, marked him out the game. So, I think every time I watch Cesar Montes now, I'm getting increasingly excited about, his future and his potential.
Yeah. The games from Cesar Montes, I think, demonstrate a lot of maturity. From a young age, I think. And it's he has those qualities, that a lot of good Mexican center backs have, is starting the play from the back. And that's one of the things Juan Malillo pointed to me when I talked to him. He even mentioned Uguayala, who was on the other side of the spectrum in this match. So that's a positive, I think. And also, I mean, the strange thing of this game was that Efrain Juarez scored the goal. Efrain Juarez has sort of been off the radar, and all of a sudden he appears in the spotlight. So at one point, Efrain Juarez was a great right back. With challenging Paul Aguilar for a starting role in the national team. But then he just got out of the map and hasn't been there again. But we'll see how this goal will if it will have a positive effect on him.
Wow, Efrain Juarez. So long ago, and I'm going to quote Cesar. I saw a tweet that he had that just felt like it was so long ago, his Celtic days. And part of that 2005 U17 win with Moreno, with Giovanni, with Vela, that's what happened. But it's scoring, and he's still kind of get going on there, guys. So the game, if I would ask you guys, ask the panel, the expert, what was the most exciting game over the weekend?
Pumas Cruz Azul on Sunday was a good one. It's very back and forth, a lot of chances. Could have gone either way. Cruz Azul goes down. A man with Mazza toward the end there. It was an exciting game. Chiapas Toluca as well. The late game on Saturday was a really good one. I got 5 goals on that one too, so a lot going on there. Dorados coming up with the draw in Pachuca was a surprise. Dorados kind of starting to put in respectable showings of late. Not necessarily I want to call it huge quality, but respectable. And it's just one of those games for Pachuca. But I mean that was kind of an exciting game as well. Pachuca just kind of pounding that goal, trying to find the winner that they couldn't really ever find.
Dorados coming out, they haven't lost in 3 games now, counting the Liga, the Copa MX after the Guadalajara and Chivas, and then now finding some confidence on there. A different Dorados is not the easiest game. Maybe it'll change some of you guys on the Quinela and picking them maybe in the next couple of weeks. Tom, to you, a little violence, a little Pachuca. Before we get to Chivas, what else interesting in Liga MX roundup?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the ones Jason obviously pointed out there. Atlas, Costas just got the dreaded vote of confidence today from the vice president of the club. Chiapas, I don't know how the hell they're doing it because the players don't even get paid and they're still pulling off victories and on the brink of the playoffs. So La Volpe is actually doing a really really good job there. To be fair to him. Veracruz, the only team without a win, really complete about turn from what they were last season, because last season they were right up there, right at the top of the league, and they were actually unlucky not to go out in the quarterfinal stage of the Liga against Pumas. So Veracruz, it's difficult to fathom really, what has gone on. It's, still yet to get a victory, but and then obviously Chivas. I mean, I think when they took the lead, just on the stroke of half time through Pereira, everyone on Twitter was like, yeah, they took the lead, but the Querétaro are definitely going to equalise. So there was a lot of tension in that second half, and I think it made for a good game, but they got that second goal, and it was a brilliant second goal from Carlos Peña. I mean, the way him and Brizuela just kind of sliced through the Querétaro defense. I mean, I think that's when those two players signed for Chivas, I think that's what fans had in mind. They thought they were going to see that kind of ability, that kind of like quality. And finally they've shown it, Chivas. So yeah, I mean, a big boost for the club going into the Clásico Nacional. I still think the underdogs. I think that you have to say they're underdogs. It's going to be absolutely fascinating to see if Omar Bravo gets to play from the start, because he was left out for the starting lineup. Fascinating to see if Peña is going to be in the starting lineup, because these two were supposed to be big players for Chivas this Clausura. So what's Almeida going to do? Is he going to stick with youngsters, or is he going to think, right, it's a big Clásico this, we need to go with players who have have international experience there. So yeah, good round of fixtures overall. I mean, I don't know, Pachuca, I don't know. I don't want to make too much of it, but it's the kind of game where you think, this is where I don't like the playoff system. It's like Pachuca, you have to win that game, and I feel like the system kind of allows kind of lapses like that, where you're 2-0 up and you can, Dorados draw, but Pachuca are fine. They're on 18 points from 9 games, no problem. No one really says anything, which I think is a bit of a shame. And even Chivas now, it's like they've won 1 out of 9 matches, and you're like, the 4 points off the playoffs. I mean, a couple of good results in the playoffs now. It's weird, and even Veracruz on 6 points from 9 games, you're not writing them off. But yeah, don't want to.
But that's the excitement of the Liga MX. That's a counter argument. Is a great MX. And you brought up, before I interrupted you with the conspiracy and the X-Files music, I want to go back to that, Tom. There were some questions on Twitter and kind of going back and forth with the attendance, overall attendance. There's a stat out there with Liga MX having the second best attendance in all of the world leagues. I think the Bundesliga is first. And you're seeing that, and we had a conversation before the game started about the marketability of the Liga MX, especially comparing them to MLS that you're seeing, and you as an outsider, the goals are just amazing league, the players that are there. Why isn't the world taking it seriously? Maybe because we feel like Cuahtemoc, Blanco are 43 years, but Tom, what's the conversation there?
No, I mean, nobody's talking about it. Nobody's even worked it out. I mean, the league tweeted out the total attendance, but they've not put it together that people don't really want to know the total attendance, because you have to get a calculator out to work out the average attendance. So if you work out the average attendance, if you do get your calculator out, it's 35,000, which is amazing. I mean, it really is good. And I just thought it was interesting that you saw MLS start up again this weekend. A big like first kick or whatever they call it there. The Super Sunday and stuff, and like they have all the leagues, and I look at the UK press and it's like MLS, they're talking about MLS, and then this Mexicans league, you've got that amazing Clásico Regio, you've got what happened at the Azteca, which say what you want about Cuauhtemoc, there was almost 70,000 people there, and I feel like the Mexican league doesn't push itself enough. I mean, Liga MX sides just defeated MLS teams 4-0, and they were all pretty comfortable, really. Apart from maybe the Tigres, Real Salt Lake, they were very comfortable victories. And it's like, I don't know, I just think it's an area that the league could definitely improve on. I don't think it, outside of Mexico, I don't think it pushes itself enough.
How does that even work though, Tom? I mean, what do you spend millions of dollars marketing the league on English television, on European television, like MLS is doing, or it has to do with the players that are coming and playing in your league? Let's be honest, the fact that the Gerards, the Keens, and those type of players that people are looking at that obviously saw in other teams, they're watching the MLS to see how they're doing, and in the same way that we do that. I mean, is that what we need to happen? We need to get people that are about to retire to come in just for the names?
No, you have to. It's just about marketing it, and I'd say, right, if MLS are marketing the fact they've got 36-year-old Steven Gerrard, who well, let's market the Liga MX like we've got a hell of a lot of very, very good, Latin American players who play really exciting football and score a lot of goals. There's so many positives about the Liga MX that I don't feel like those in charge push. I mean, just from my point of view as a journalist, it is so difficult. I'm sure Naib will back me up on this. It's so difficult to get interviews in Mexico. I mean, you go in there and you go in there and you're thinking, right, I want to do a positive interview about this player or that player, and it's like every time, it's rare. I mean, most of the time you don't get a response or they close the door. They don't want you to do it. It's like, and I think that's the big difference. MLS is very aware that they have to push it itself. You know what I mean? And MLS has the advantage it's an English-speaking league. So obviously that translates globally better than
Do they
I'd
show
argue.
MLS matches in England?
Yeah, they've got a deal with Sky Sports and Sky Sports
and I think
promote
that
it.
really has something to do with it. I mean, where else?
No, but like I think we're sort of deviating a little bit on the factors that happen here in the country, in Mexico. There's several stadiums in Liga MX that don't have the resources or the capacities. Simple things like Wi-Fi. Over there in MLS, over there in MLS, all the stadiums have Wi-Fi. There can be journalists on the pitch and doing Snapchat and stuff. That's unimaginable in Liga MX. We're a little bit behind there. And I think that has to do with the clubs. They have to invest more money in their facilities. And there's some clubs that are ahead of the game, like Rayados, Santos, Omnilife over there with Chivas, Estado Caliente with Tijuana. Those are ahead of the pack. But then you go to Puebla, Chiapas, Veracruz, León,
Jalisco.
Even CEU, Ciudad Universitaria, and Pumas, they don't have Wi-Fi. And when you add all of these things, it makes it really complicated to export the brand momentarily in an instant, because everything is done in an instant now. You send out a tweet or a Snapchat, and it goes out to the world right away. In Mexico, it takes a while to send something out. And what Tom was saying about the interviews, it's complicated to do the interviews because the organization is really, really bad. If the press officer doesn't know you, he won't give you an interview. And then when you can interview the players after the matches, some players will stand up and talk to you, but if they don't want to talk, they just leave. Like for the most part, there's certain things that happen.
For example, like Gignac, I believe he's given one interview since he joined Tigres, and it's like, I mean, he's a star in France. He's going to be probably in the Euro squad. And I know that Gignac's not the type that he wants to give loads of interviews, but it's like, if you're the club and you're paying him millions of dollars a year, then you got to sit him down and say, you know what, we want some publicity in France. We want to increase sponsorship. Do a couple of interviews for the US press, do some interviews for the French press. I'm not saying like every day do an interview, but like do once a month or something. You know what I mean? And I just think MLS, although it's losing on the pitch against Liga MX, I feel it's winning off it.
No. Here's where I just kind of like, we're forgetting that I don't see another league being watched in another country like the Liga MX is watched in the U.S. And
yeah,
maybe
but for me, that's accidental. That's accidental.
No, come on.
That's not centralized planning from the Liga MX.
I think they're like, we have the the best soccer league, which is Liga MX in the U.S. is more than the MLS. We're already beating the current league in the U.S. Right?
Yeah.
Spending time to go into Europe and it takes more when they already have this huge cash cow making it in Liga MX.
No, but I think that's but that's my exact point. They think they're fine. They think, we're making enough money in Mexico, we're making loads of money in the US. I don't think there's ever been a strategy to win over the US. It's just like, there's loads of Mexicans there who naturally watch the league. And then you've got like Univision, who have realized, Chivas is a massive brand. And so now they've decided to pay Chivas loads of money. Like Chivas Vergara, people can say what they want about Vergara. What he is bright in terms of those TV deals and stuff. Because he got a lot of money for that deal.
What kind of market is in England, Tom? Like, what you're looking at, an executive says we really want to push into the English market, and compete with the leagues that they have. Not only, I mean, every English is, I guarantee when you're there, you're watching the Spanish league, you're watching the German league. How can little Liga MX really be profitable unless they have players? I'll give you that. Unless they have some kind of.
They do have players.
I know English players playing in Liga MX.
Well, no, it'd help if they had English players, but I'm not saying just England. I'm saying China. I'm saying Latin America. Like how many Argentine players are here? How many Brazilian players? How much are they marketing the Liga MX down there? I'd argue.
Or
Again,
I mean, do you
not-
see that you see
the
another
big
league?
part I think the big thing I think we're missing too is that what they're doing in the U.S. and what they're not doing in the U.S. I mean, really focusing on only the Spanish-speaking population in the United States, I think, is a big mistake for the Liga MX. I mean, there's a huge population of in the United States that doesn't speak Spanish and doesn't understand Spanish and won't watch these games because of that, but are becoming a bigger fan of the sport. But they're not going to follow this league, even though it's in a better time zone. You're not waking up early to watch European games. It makes sense, and it's high quality. You're finding out that it's high quality, but they're probably not going to watch it just because it's broadcast in Spanish. And I think, maybe you can't fix that broadcasting thing right away, but, I mean, just reaching out in English more, I think would be a simple thing for
I just feel
Liga
that people
MX to
have
be
their
doing.
markets. I think people have their markets, and I don't, they're smart about where they're gonna have Liga MX be showing. I know that France now, is seeing a lot more Liga MX because of GNAC and because that influence. But I just don't see how many people actually watch the Argentine, league or the Colombian league or any other leagues in South America, as
Yeah, but they don't have the money like they have at Liga MX. They don't have the potential. You know what I mean? Liga MX is like it's got this huge potential because of the finances that are involved. And I think what you're saying there, Weasel, I think that's how they look at it. I do think they see it, but I think they limit themselves big time because they only say, oh, we've got this market, we're doing well here, we're doing well there. And I want to be like, there's a lot of up-and-coming leagues, the Australian league, the Chinese league, the Indian league. All these leagues are pumping money into what's going on, the planning, MLS. And I'm thinking, Liga MX, it's a good league, it's doing well, and it's not going to go anywhere. You know what I mean? It's not going to disappear. It's got its market here, it's got its market in the US, and then obviously, a small market in Latin America. But I want to see it export more.
We can't compete again. I mean, okay, let's take it back to the beginning. And the reason why I watch La Liga, the Spanish league, or I watch the English Premier, or I watch, it's because of the players. That's it. It'll come down to. You can market it all you want in England. Oh, look at these great games. Look at Chiapas or look at America, or look at Chivas. You can market as much as you want and put $1 million. But if you don't have the players, the great players playing in Liga MX, we're never going to get that. That's why I watch Bundesliga. That's why I watch.
But people don't know about the players. People don't know about the players that are actually right here now.
Get the good players to come here.
I think one of the things that will help Liga MX, especially looking at it from a global aspect, is to do better in the Club World Cups. Because if you're going to be winning this Conca Champions all the time, make the best out of that opportunity. Because if Club America is into this Chinese club over there in Japan, it doesn't look good on the league. And also, if a Liga MX club wins the Copa Libertadores, which Tigres was really close on doing, I think that will also help. That will open the eyes a little bit more in Europe, because in Europe people do know that the football in Liga MX is exciting, but they're very few. If we're able to export examples of teams that win good things internationally, and I'm talking Libertadores mainly, I think that will help to sort of export a little bit the brand.
I think the reason why Querétaro jumped into the international stage and the Twitter following went crazy and their website and the sales was because of Ronaldinho. You bring players over, and it's going to create international, and people are going to look at it, and they're watching to see it. And that's what's really going to get you those players. If you start bringing quality players, let's say a Falcao, all of a sudden is in America, or a Ribéry, all of a sudden ends up, in Cruz Azul or something like that, where people are like, oh man, these guys not only
definitely.
It, that's going to get you there.
But you've already got very, very good players who might not be the biggest names in the world, and you've already got a very good quality league. So, and you don't really want it to become like MLS. Let's be honest. I wouldn't want to watch that LA Galaxy team, being really honest. If I had to go into Guadalajara and watch them every week, it's exciting to see Robbie Keane and Gerrard, but and what I'm saying is the Liga MX has got a very good product right now, and it's got the ability.
Watched by people that like football. I think they're watching Gerrard, and you're watching those players. Take those players out. I don't think anyone in England is going to watch it. They're not going to watch a Seattle go against a Houston Dynamo just to see their soccer. I think it's because of the players to see how these guys are doing. So you have to have that, they have to have that connection in order for you to watch, not just watch great football, because Brazil has great football. You have those Argentina, games of Boca River or Estudiantes La Plata, and you have those great rivalries. And I sit down just to watch those great football, but that's not going to happen unless you have those type of players.
But like, for example, Argentina, there's got a number of eligible players for the Argentine national team and a couple that are regular in the squad. What is the Liga MX doing in Argentina to promote itself? You've got two players that could be at the next World Cup. One could be the starting goalkeeper. And my question is, in the Liga MX, where's the marketing, where's the PR to push itself on an Argentine league that pays, a tiny percentage of the wages that they do here? You know what I mean? I just don't see that. I don't see that oversight. And I think MLS has got that oversight. And exactly, you're right, Weasel. Buying those players is part of the plan. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is, in Mexico, they don't have that plan. I don't see the plan.
Look, in the Copa Centenario that's coming up, Paraguay, most of its players play in Liga MX. Ecuador is currently the first place in CONMEBOL, and some of its key players play in Mexico. Colombia, they're just exporting a bunch of players to Mexico. So there you see three teams that are using the Liga MX as to develop, to grow as footballers. That is, the Liga MX is the best league in America's point right now. There's no better league. So we got to find ways to export this league to other parts of the world, because it does deserve to be looked. It's way ahead of MLS, way ahead of the MLS. I think people in England would like to see a Puebla Veracruz than a Galaxy New York City FC, because it's better football, better quality football on the pitch.
I think you're wrong. They don't want to Puebla Veracruz than a LA Galaxy and looking at
better football. It's better football.
Maybe it's better football. I bet it's better football. But I didn't even watch Puebla Veracruz, and I watched the Galaxy and trying to see Gio to see how he played. Let's be honest, guys. I love the fact that we would love to have this league be all international, but it's just not I don't know. I just don't see someone sitting down. I wonder what the Liga MX is going, and let's see a good teams like Puebla Veracruz.
Yeah, but nobody's ever done that though. Nobody's ever done that. Nobody's ever sat there and said, no one's ever tried to push it. That's the thing. And the money's here.
It's not.
You know what I mean?
Right. There's no clear option. Like I don't know. I think the language barrier is a big deal as well. But I mean, I think like talking about Europe doesn't make any sense. I mean, just time zones. It's just like, why are you watching Liga MX? But like, it's the Americas. It's like Tom said, in South America, there's natural connections there. In the U.S., there's a ton of people who watch soccer who don't watch Liga MX because it's in Spanish. I mean, it's just it comes down to that for me. I think if this was presented and more readily available to non-Mexican Americans, I think it would be consumed a lot more, because there's quality.
Like it's the connection. That's where I feel. I feel you have to connect somehow to watch other leagues. I
think that's where marketing comes in. I think that's what marketing is.
I look at every and not to say it in a bad way, Jason. I look at every white guy that watches Liga MX, and I'm like, how do you follow Cruz Azul? Well, I lived in Mexico City. Okay, there's the connection. Rarely do I find someone that's like, hey, I watch it just because they have great football. Unless they're going into that, and it just, you have to find that connection. And
but you have to. Sometimes somebody has to give you the connection.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's not just gonna like.
Rob Schneider loves Tigres because his wife is from Monterrey.
That's why stuff like the Twitter account that we talk about, the doing something in English. I think not just to get more fans, but also for sponsorship and to raise awareness of the league and what's going on. I mean, for me, it's an absolute no-brainer. And I just from dealing with multiple clubs and people in the game, I always see this kind of like. They put a ceiling on it, They put a ceiling on how far the league can grow, and I don't know. It just worries me that you look at this weekend, 35,000, and it's like, imagine if there was 35,000 average attendance in MLS. Can you imagine they'd be shouting from the rooftops about it? They'd be saying, "Oh, there's a major breakthrough, blah blah blah." More people than the Premier League. Can you imagine the impact? And I'm like, Mexico has to make a bigger deal of stuff like this.
Out of that ranking list, who's on there? Because I know I think the Chinese league is also there, like 6th or something, right?
Yeah. MLS, Germany, Spain, France, Italy, I think's on there.
So let's look. The Chinese league is up there, and I don't think, just viewership. Anyways, Well, that was a great discussion overall. I mean, I think we both can agree that we have a great league and how it can be marketed. I feel like we got to bring some players in and at least to get some type of interest. And when you're right, time zones, great discussion overall. This is why we have a great show. We can agree to disagree. Like move, like Esther City or something. We'll keep going. See what's going on in the chats. You're wrong. Weso. It's not about the players. Again, I'm not very popular in the chat today. Everyone saying that Tom and Jason and Naive are correct. So, you know what? We're just ending the show right now. Talk to you guys later. Now, let's go ahead. Lots of Liga MX talk, but we have to keep going. We already talked. We have a little less than 15 minutes, but let's go ahead and talk about Europeos. I know a lot of people want to get your take, guys, on Memo Ochoa finally starting. And even though we never want to wish injury or anything on a player, regardless of who you are, I know we're a fan of Memo and we want him to play. And obviously the news of Kameni out for the rest of the season, 1 or 2 months likely, but it looks like the rest of the season. Guillermo Ochoa coming in, and just a few moments later gets scored on, not only once, but throughout the game. Granted that it wasn't his fault, but Naive, would love to hear your reaction on how big this is for Memo. How long has it been since he's played? And do you see him making an appearance in either of the tournaments that are happening in the summer? Would he be there as a starter if he keeps playing and has playing times? And if we follow the Memo, book of him getting minutes, he's going to show up and do well.
I think we'll wait how he does in the next games. I mean, I think it's positive that he will have playing time without a doubt. I think after
imagine if he's on the bench now.
Oh my goodness!
I think that's the first part. He's actually playing nowadays, and I think that will certainly help his options for a national team call-up. I think that Osorio is still on Talavera. That's his pick. Talavera is his number one.
But Talavera's saying they may go to the Olympics.
But he could play both. Talavera could play both. Remember that Talavera is in a Mexican club, so there's some leverage there. He could play in June with El Tri Mayor, and then in August he could play for the Olympico team. So I think it's just
Osorio likes Ochoa he would want Ochoa to play in the Olympics, and Malaga doesn't let him. That would be the story.
No. I think it's just positive that he's playing. We'll see what happens in the next weeks or so. I think Kameni's out for 6 weeks. That's the diagnosis. And it was how the option was gonna come. Kameni had to get hurt or something of this had to happen in order for him to get playing time, because he was not gonna get playing time before Kameni's injury.
Not at all, especially with Copa del Rey now ending. Tom, you see him playing and does well. You got to take at least one tournament as a backup?
No, yeah, I think it's massive for him. I mean, I think it is. I mean, I think the way he has to look at it now, I mean, he's been unlucky because he's been on the sidelines for so long now. The way he has to look at it is that if he can play some really top games, he can win the starting spot for the rest of the season. I think he has to look at it like that. He has to look at he was one of the best goalkeepers at the last World Cup, and that he can win the starting spot at Malaga ahead of Kameni. I know Kameni's having a good season, but Ochoa has to have that confidence that he can do it. And if he can do that, and he can be a starter for the rest of the season, then the door's open to him starting the Copa America. I mean, it is massive for Memo Ochoa, this. The flip side, I'd say there's a lot of pressure on him now. Everybody's going to be watching. He really has to perform, and he has to perform after not playing much. I mean, playing very, very few games, so it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy to get into that routine. I mean, we talk about pre-season a lot and getting the minutes under your belt and stuff like that, and I think the Memo Ochoa is just going into that after just training. So yeah, pressure's on, but he's going to see this as a really good opportunity.
No, definitely. Well, the good thing is it'll keep the conversation alive. Should it be Chuy? Should it be Talavera? Should it be Memo? I love it. I think everyone was really great. Even though from what it looks like, if you were watching the game, I know Cesar was tweeting about it. It looked like it wasn't. The defense, the Malaga defense was wasn't doing that great. So hopefully he's able to show, because playing in Ajaccio, a team that might be relegated, he showed some spark there, even though the defense was horrible. It'll get a chance to highlight him. I think.
Yeah,
This is a great.
and these games will work as a way to expose himself in La Liga, and this could attract potential teams or potential moves in the future. So I
Yeah.
think it's important for him to do well, because if he does well, then he could still have a market in Europe, because that's
Yeah.
what he wants. He wants to still be marketable in Europe, because if he's not marketable in Europe, he'll come to Mexico and play for America
America.
probably.
Yeah, that's the only thing that worries me about the Olympics as well. Because if he is going to move, you don't want that situation that he's had before in his career, where it's kind of all a bit of a mix-up and you don't know where he's going till the last minute. You know what I mean? And you imagine that if he is going to a new club and the Olympics are in August, you want him to like kind of be in pre-season and not lose the #1 spot before he's even started.
Which are going to happen. Well, good luck to Memo. I keep saying it's is Samson and his hair. You take all his power and now he's at his curls back. You see him, and there it is. He's back into playing time. Let's go the roundup in the Europeos. Diego Reyes scoring in Real Sociedad, doing obviously great now with multiple goals in the season. Saved. It looked like Europeos was going to be no scoring anywhere in the weekend, and bam. We have now Diego Reyes. Also, great game by Fabian, who was in the starting 11, and it was nominated for the league. So great things that are happening, especially with looking at Fabian and how he's playing, and it looks like he's doing his job. But overall, no news on Chicharito. Official news that he is injured. Still trying to find out what is happening, because I've seen some 2 weeks that he's out. I know that he had obviously some accumulation of cards and he wasn't able to play on Saturday. So expect to see some reports coming out, because he did leave a little bit, I think a little bit hurt, unless anybody has any official news. But I know that there were some reports that were coming out. No, I think hopefully we'll see if he's in the starting lineup for this weekend. But who we do want to definitely talk about just really quickly on the Chisme news. Chisme, as in rumors, for those of you who don't know, is Carlos Vela in the spotlight over the weekend. After a win with his team, was a scene in a Chris Brown concert, and did not report to training today. And this is coming out of the club. This isn't some paparazzi TMZ type of thing where we saw him. No, this is the club saying that he wasn't there, and it was an unexcused absence. Yes, even players have unexcused absences, just like you do at your job, and you get written up. And there might be some. He might get fined, but Carlos Vela doesn't look too good. I mean, he's out there partying and not going to, your typical Giovanni dos Antros type of story right there, but it doesn't look good for Carlos Vela. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, it doesn't look good. I mean, yeah, we need to wait for the full story, and we need to.
I think it was with Griezmann. I think.
Yeah, we need to see what comes out of the club, and and the full story, the background, and if it was what he said, because he said it was gastritis?
Yeah, stomach flu.
Yeah.
Stomach flu, like 5 o'clock in the morning with the picture that he was on there, of course.
I mean, it doesn't look good, but has Vela ever been the best kind of from a PR point of view, and doing things the right way? No, but we'll see. I mean, I don't think, I think he's obviously, he had a decent February. I think that was the first time in almost a year that he's actually played well. He's found some form, and so let's see what the future holds for Vela. I mean, there's those MLS rumors that they don't really go away. Is he going to stay at Real Sociedad? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Vela ends up with like Giovanni in MLS in the summer. I mean, I just don't see him playing Carlos Vela. Just quickly, and I don't know. Maybe
he'll go to that Miami team that's coming up because he loves, or that Florida team that's coming up because he loves the Heat.
I just the thing with Vela is he's got the ability to play for Atletico Madrid or a top team. I think anyway, but I just don't know if he's got that mental or even that drive to do it. You know what I mean? I think I don't know if I'm being unfair to Vela. I don't know him personally. You know what I mean? But that's just what when you stuff like this when it comes out, he's at a concert and he's mistraining, you know, allegedly anyway, and it's like he doesn't strike me as a player who wants to absolutely get the maximum out of his ability, and the same thing, you know, not turning up to Mexico and then not even explaining why. I don't know. He's frustrating, Vela. He's frustrating because he's so good.
Right.
Oh, the chat's going crazy. Vela should just be LeBron's ball boy. We all know his dream job.
No, with certain details about the Vela story. I mean, the concert took place in Madrid. Real Sociedad had drawn 1-1 against Levante, which is the worst team in La Liga, in San Sebastián. So he went from San Sebastián to Madrid on Sunday night, and Griezmann went from Valencia to Madrid on Sunday night as well. But Griezmann scored a goal and led Atletico Madrid to a 3-1 victory to Valencia.
That's not
So
an
here, you
excuse,
see
Naeem. That's not an excuse to miss the practice.
Look, no, wait, but like, I'm not saying excuses or anything. I'm just drawing the details here. The problem here with Vela is that he hasn't been playing well for Real Sociedad whatsoever. It's just 1 month, like Tom said, and then he decides not to show up to training the next day, and then I think tomorrow he's gonna be in Barcelona doing some promotional deals. I don't know if it's gonna be with his brand that sponsors him, and then on Wednesday he will meet with the club officials, and I think that's when it's gonna get a little bit serious. The club is really mad at Vela for his attitude during the whole season. I think Real Sociedad has given a lot to Carlos Vela, and Carlos Vela hasn't been able to give them, show them respect at the very least respect, because they have trusted him during all these years, and all of a sudden he just decides to give up. It's lack of ambition, like Tom said. If Vela does decide to go to MLS, it will look like a lack of ambition. The same can be said about Giovanni. There's this lack of ambition in those two that it's quite sad, because they have the potential to be better. We're talking about Giovanni over here in MLS, 26 years old, and doing all this sort of commotion because he's taken out after 45 minutes due to a leg injury, supposedly. Last night against it was Galaxy. What was the other team? But there's a lot of things going on that they shouldn't be going through. I mean, and it's that sort of lack of ambition. If those two had the ambition that Chicharito had, Mexico would be in paradise, let me tell you. But it's unfortunate.
Guys, it was Chris Brown. That's his favorite. I mean, that's his favorite. What if the Beatles were, on there, and maybe that's his Beatles? Who knows? We gotta hear.
No, yeah, no, definitely do it. Go to the concert, but you better make sure you're in training.
Yeah.
Pay a private jet. Do what you need to do.
Haven't we seen in those English clubs those guys partying in the in the late '90s, and they're still in training the next day with La Cruda, but they're there. I saw a goal, and Santiago, he was there even though he was partying with all these guys. He was there the next day.
Ultimately, it's not really going to matter if he performs. If he comes back and he scores a bunch of goals, it's not going to matter, and he'll move on. I think his time with Sociedad is probably going to be done here, but in the next couple of months. I mean, I think the writing's on the wall. I think that MLS thing is very real, and I think it's probably going to happen. I mean, it's just going to be a big money for him. So
the
thing with Vela.
I think the thing with Vela, he's going to be in exactly the same position as Giovanni, where he's gone from a good club, a good club in Spain. Real Sociedad is a good club, like Villarreal is a good club, and he's not going to move on from there. He's not going to have an option of going to a better club and moving up. And so Vela's going to be in the position of, like Gio was, what do I do now? I can make more money in MLS. I'm closer to my family. The lifestyle's very nice. There's not that pressure, that you get in Spain. And I think it's going to be the easy option. I think he's going to take it. And I don't know. And it would be disappointing, to be honest.
Come back to Mexico. It's a great league. Imagine.
No.
Bella,
Go to Rayados or Tigres. Bueno, Rayados could be an
people
option.
are going back. You failed. Before going to MLS, go to Liga MX, make it big. Bam.
Yeah.
And since,
quick point about what I've been able to observe from Giovanni in the last weeks. I think these players, if Vela comes to MLS, and we're seeing it right now with Gio, but I see that Gio feels uncomfortable with the style of play in MLS because it's vertical, long ball. There's very few plays on the ground, and that's if the game doesn't happen on the ground, Giovanni will suffer. Giovanni feels lost. We're talking about a player that was born and raised in La Masia, and then all of a sudden you come to a league where it's all long ball. You got to do headers. I mean, that's not his area of play, and that's the same problem that Carlos Vela will have if he comes here. No, and it was sort of the similar case with Rafael Marquez.
Yeah, Rafa Marquez.
Rafael Marquez didn't like the MLS because the game was so
Slow.
physical and slow and not fast, and the long balls and everything. And then when he went to Leon, he felt right at home because he was able to play on the ground and start the plays from the back like they started over there in Barcelona. So it's not easy for a Mexican footballer that was sort of made his career in Europe, especially in Spain to be specific, to come to MLS and feel right at home. I'm really surprised, for example, with Jovinko, how he exploded. But also the Italian league is not so specific on playing the ball on the ground. They also like playing long balls over there in Italy.
Interesting. That's a great observation. When I meant by slow is that you're right. You have that long ball, a very, very fast league in MLS, but in terms of passing, it feels like it doesn't equate into maybe a Liga MX. But
Yeah.
we'll see what happens into that.
Tell you what, just quickly on Giovanni. I mean, he's got to. I mean, let's see what this injury is. I mean, the reports say it's not that serious. But honestly, now, I mean, I was in Torreon the other day and I watched him live, and for the reports on Sunday's game for Galaxy, it's like you look at his path now to the national team and you're thinking he's got a lot to do. He really has a lot of work to do. And you look at the likes of Lozano in Pachuca, and you're thinking, Giovanni's getting overtaken now, not by just one player either. Like there's a few players that you look at now and you're thinking, Tecatito's making, he's not in the best form right now, but Giovanni's just slowly going down the pecking order, and I think he's got quite a lot of work to do now to get back in the national team.
Yeah, no, you're right. When's the last time we saw Giovanni had a good game? I can't remember. Where we've said Giovanni had an amazing game.
Yeah.
Even if it's not because of the MLS. I mean, I think he had one at the beginning when he came in, and I just can't remember that. But we'll see what's at. Guys, time to say goodbye, say adios. But before we do that, new El Tri jersey, the green one coming out. I'm sure everyone wants to hear your thoughts from me. It's a beautiful green. I got to see it already. I have a buddy that is a dealer here with a soccer store, and I was able to see it, and if you wouldn't give me a discount, it's $120. I'm not going to pay that. But he let me put it on, but he didn't let me take pictures. He was just bien codo. But it looked good. Everyone's excited about this green. As you see in the back, we got the other two greens that were there. Very simple. It looks good. But right, guys? I mean, everyone's excited. Pretty much, Adidas did well just by keeping it simple.
Yeah, I'm a big fan, me. Big fan of the shirt, and Mexico should play in green. I mean, you know what I mean?
I think the black is cool. Don't get me wrong.
No, it's cool. Yeah, it's a cool second.
Cool, but you have to have that green. And for the Copa America again, pretty penny at $120, $90. People will pay to do that, guys. But Jason, I'm sure you'll be getting it, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's a good one. This is a good one this time. So yeah, it's a nice looking shirt there. So yeah, we'll be picking that up.
Okay, get the one with Guardado on the back, because the capi.
That's right.
Andres Guardado.
That's right, a captain, right? I don't have a Guardado. I got a Guardado Atlas one. I got a long time ago. It's really nice. Not saying that I'm an Atlas fan, but I really wanted one. But there, guys.
Real quick on the Guardado. We had a quick conversation with Tom last week. We think that Guardado could play in the Olympics and Centenario. It's possible.
Yeah, I've been saying it, man. I'm saying it. Ochoa Olympics, Guardado Olympics, and one striker. That's why I think they're going to go to the Olympics. The three that are going to go.
Thanks.
See where that's going, guys. All right, well, guys, make sure you obviously follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. Here on the subscribe to our YouTube channel, please, please. If we ask, we beg of you, please subscribe. If you're listening to us on iTunes, give us a little review. See, what you like, what you don't like, anything. Keep the conversation going. Also, just let you know, Thursday nights we have our Mexican Soccer Show Express. It should be a good one this Thursday, as we will be talking all about the Super Clásico that'll be happening this weekend coming up with Chivas. Very hurt Chivas versus America coming from that win with Cuahtemoc. Both coming with a win, actually. It should be interesting to watch. It's a totally different game. Thank you to all who are on the chats. Thank you to Mr. Ivan. Afro Xander, if you're not following him, definitely do with all the live tweeting here at Mexican Soccer Show, and it's all to you guys. I want to say a shout out to our intern Amy, who has done an amazing job so far. Thank you, Amy, for all that you've done. Follow her. We'll throw out the links on you. Tom, Naive, Jason, as always, a pleasure. Caballeros, we'll see you guys all next Monday, 7 p.m. Pacific. Well, never mind. We'll see you guys all on Thursday for Express, but then we'll see you all on Monday, guys. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. For those spring breakers, take it easy. Don't go so crazy. And we'll see you all next Thursday, this Thursday, and the following Monday. Hasta luego.